And that's why it's so interesting that you can lose fat and maintain or build muscle at the same time when you look at it from that perspective. Do you think that if someone is, and we talked about that a little bit, so just to bring it back to the start then, do you think that someone can lose fat even if they're not necessarily maintaining sort of like a ketogenesis? I think that's kind of the whole point of all of this is, that you don't need to necessarily be in a state of ketogenesis for the body to be very actively using stored body fat as a substrate for fuel.
Yeah, so the studies that we've done in this domain, probably the one done in younger women, premenopausal women, you mentioned with the dairy, that was a 40-30-30 mix. So they had 40% of their energy was coming from carbohydrate. And in the group that got 30% of their energy from protein, and these women were exercising 7 days a week, not massive exercise, but definitely meeting physical activity guidelines. So they were lifting weights twice a week, and then they were doing some form of aerobic exercise on the other 5 days a week. That in that situation, 100% of the weight that they lost was from fat. And they also gained a little bit, not a lot, probably about 1.5 pounds of muscle, lean tissue.
A caloric deficit, I'm assuming. Do you know what the deficit?
Yeah, so it was probably in the range of about 750 calories per day. So you have to tip the scales in an energy deficit standpoint. But we did another study where we took some young guys for a month, and we put them in a 40% energy deficit, that's tough going. We had them exercising 6 days a week. They did a lot of exercise. It was really intense work. And the idea was, in a month, how far can we tip the scales in a negative energy deficit, get these guys stronger and fitter, sort of almost like a readiness protocol, and then at the same time not have them lose a ton of muscle mass. And so we were trying to aim at, say, situations of getting military personnel or law enforcement personnel ready to come to service, or people like some of these special ops guys who are out in the field and they only have a tiny little field ration, but they're humping a 70-pound pack, 10, 15 kilometers. Massive energy expenditure, nowhere near enough food to compensate. What can we do to help them hang on to muscle? And we found that a higher protein intake, so this time it was about 2.4, so almost 3 times as high as the current RDA, was sufficient to allow these guys everything that they lost in terms of weight, which was I want to say about 3.8 kilos. So just over 10 pounds of fat in a month. And they gained muscle at the same time. So again, not a huge amount, about 2 pounds, but it's doable. So it doesn't require ketosis for it to happen. Some people find it easier in ketosis for it to happen. But I think, that's just the magic of, people figuring out what it is that works for them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to go from 34% body fat to 21, and I gained 8 pounds of muscle in that time, and just by prioritizing protein. So I'm really passionate about helping people understand body composition and macros. So I really appreciate all your insight. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this part of the episode. Now, if you want to try out doing keto with me as your coach and guide, you can head over to ketogenicgirl.com, see all of the meal plan programs that I have there, which are modeled after how I personally eat, how I got my body composition down from close to 40% down to 21%. And I'm here to be your guide and help coach you with any questions that you have as we go along in our members Facebook group. So any of the meal plans that are at ketogenicgirl.com also come with my coaching and guidance and support in our members group. And you can head over to Ketogenic Girl to check those out, or send me a message over on Instagram, send me a DM with your goals about which meal plan would be best for you. And I would absolutely love to have you in the program. Would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's episode, send it to someone that you think would enjoy it too. Leave me a rating, a review, and subscribe so you get notifications when I put out new episodes. So until the next episode, wishing you a fat-fueled rest of your day. Bye for now.